All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending on where you are today. We have a pair of fantastic matches coming up for you guys. Today, I am your host. You know me as Fierce. And joined today with me, I have a trio of casters here to bring some heat to the action for you guys. You know them all. It's Coeval, the Wise Old Man, and Union Taper. Gentlemen, how are we today?
Doing quite well. How are you doing?
Good to hear from you, Coeval. All's well over on this end, Wise Old Man. Good to have you also on the comm. How you feeling?
Thank you, friend. It's good to be back again and let's ready to cast this.
Yeah, and Union, it's good to have you on the team, on the mic. Although your match is coming up soon, maybe not today. How are you feeling?
Oh, great, man. I needed a break from playing my match, so I figured I'd come and join you guys on the comms.
Perfect. Well, speaking of joining the match, very soon we're about to hop into it. Ink is ready to face off against Jgsalem. It's going to be the first match of today, but after that, we'll immediately hop right on over to the semifinal match between Cryo and Oa. So a pair of very good, very fun matches lined up for us. I'm looking forward to watching these games, and I'll have the opportunity to kick back and relax a little bit while you guys take over the commentary for the day. So I think we're just about ready for the match to begin. We're gonna hop over to gameplay, and here we go. Oh, you know, got that I posted second. But
They started.
they have begun. Take it away, my friends.
All right.
right.
So we've got Ink against Salem here, and what do you guys know about these players? I know that Ink, he's a veteran of the game, so I would expect him to put up a pretty good fight here. Probably run something pretty generic, knowing Ink. Salem, I've seen him only in low times, and that was a long time ago. I don't really know much about his playing style. So I don't know. We might expect a generic versus generic battle here, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with either of these players. I mean, I know that they're names in the community. Just personally, I haven't seen them play, but yeah, you might be right. If you take a look, like there's no level 3s, so most likely it'll probably be a generic battle.
Yeah, of course we've got the classic opener of just the flight prot. Interesting that Ink chose to hide on turn 1. Maybe that suggests that he's got some more generic spells like Pegasus and Swarm, and he's just gonna sit and chill and wait for Salem to make a move.
Yeah, I mean, as Wise Old Man always says, you have to be careful when you do that because, I mean, obviously the game is just starting, but as we continue on and it stays this way, clams will ultimately be the deciding factor in how this game plays out.
Absolutely. Yeah, the difference between this map and every other map is that if you took too much setting up or just go full defensive, there's a stage of the one clam, then the two clams, then the three clams, the map's destroyed, and you're pretty much open to the RNG and the possibility of it. So you let the RNG to control over your game, which is bad. I've seen it before.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see that come into play. I don't know if it's usually like right on turn 10. The clams don't usually end up being a huge factor on, turn 12, turn 14. But it's when there's 2 that are dropping, and then there's 3 that are dropping, and then it's just all up to RNG.
Yeah, it looks like you see JG Jones brought the Shock Shield, which is a great spell, especially when you're going against generic itself. But he obviously doesn't want to give Ink that much time to set up. So, he blast from the passive through, got his Swarm in for some damage on his shield. then casted it. And yeah, Ink's only response really is trying to just create space for himself and not let him get attacked or entangled with that shock shield.
Yeah, I think Salem rushed this a little bit here, because if you think about future turns, his swarm will go down, and then Ink also escaped, so he's got freedom to move about the map, and just casted the shock shield, which is now okay. Yeah, great move by Salem to control the swarm, because he was thinking that it would tick his swarm and kill it.
Yeah, I mean, Ink has he's in a good position right now because he still has Salem trapped. I would think that he would want to just get rid of that swarm. So this is pretty much going to tell us, it's going to tell us if he has shock shield himself or not. So yeah, it looks like it's a pretty generic battle.
Yeah, this for now looks like a mirror book match, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wonder, does Salem have Mega? I would pretty much guarantee that Ink has Mega, although it's possible he doesn't, but pretty sure like the generic Shock Shield Mega book is just like very popular in this type of map. But I'm not sure about Salem. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, there could be some differences. I mean, obviously, having Mega Boulder, Flight, Frost Shield, and Shock Shield is, that by itself, you can create a pretty standard generic book. But there could be some key differences, right? Because you could mix in Pebbles, you could mix in a Sky Ray, you could, you may or may not have Pegasus, you could have Sanctuary. So there's like other things that you can fit in. So it'll be interesting to see, did somebody bring, does somebody have something in their back pocket? Is it an Entangle? Is it Sanctuary? So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we probably won't see it here in the first bit of terms, but as Arma comes and starts getting rid of that terrain, we'll most likely see what they have up their sleeve.
Yeah, so far they're just trading mud balls, and we're gonna see that again here. I'm wondering about Union. You may be able to speak to this more. So that swarm, it's now trapped. Does Ink just forget about it? I mean, you're never gonna have time really to flash that out. Maybe on a setting like Grassy, you might, if you're really able to control the movement of your opponent. But otherwise, that swarm's it's gonna die. It's pretty useless.
Yeah, as of right now it is. But one thing to think about is, even if you have a minion trapped, you never want to forget about it, right? You always want to keep it in the back of your mind. Yeah, there's a possibility your opponent might even forget about it, but there could be an opportunity, such as in this instance, for example, where Ink could jump over, blast from the past into the tree, and free a swarm, right? While Jgsalem's still trapped. So unless Jgsalem traps him, but he does have the ability to just cast a blast from the past to open that tree up and then have his swarm free. So it's one of those things where it's not too big of a deal. It just won't come into play until later on, unless a clam comes down and just absolutely kills it, or he could get very lucky or free it, right?
What were you saying, wise old man?
No, the same that we have seen in the tournament, most commonly that clams free the trap minions more than kill them.
Right.
Oh, interesting. So Ink has a DK.
Pressure's on. Let's go. This is heating up now. Salem's got to be careful here. I will say also that BFTP, it's a little tricky sometimes. It's failable, and you also got to be careful. You could stun the swarm, which is not a huge deal. It might still be free. But yeah, great tempo move by Ink here. And I believe Salem's tower is down. So, he decides to gate, but I'm not sure about the positioning of that gate there. We'll have to see if it's going to bite him.
I think it's okay. I don't think Ink can really do much. I mean, he's trapped. He can't get out. He can't go for a flash. The most he could do is, I don't know, unless he has any type of aerials, but right now he's probably looking to get rid of that peg so that he can start slowly working himself out.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the flash there. Another potential option would have been to Shock Shield, and that way he's got that consistent threat of the 25 damage to tick away the Pegasus and the Swarm. And now he's free, but he has to now deal with both of these minions. And so maybe after flashing out, he might choose to do that line and do Shock Shield after. But we'll see what ends up happening here. Yeah, good move by Salem. Is this going to free the Swarm or kill it? Probably kill it because it's at 25 health. Yeah. He's in a bit of danger up there at the top of the
thing
map.
about the DK play, like I'll be honest, I haven't really seen much of it. There's maybe a few people that have brought it out.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those spells where it's like it's like a 50-50 shot, right? Like if you really wait to the very end and you're able to get your opponent in a position where they can't teleport out or they're pretty much trapped, like that's at that point that's where like DK will ultimately be at its very best, right? In this case, I think he kind of summed it out early, and so right now it's essentially useless, right? It's good in the sense that it provides some spacing, but you're giving Salem pretty much reign of like the entire top side of the map, right? And DK has no mobility, it can't jump too high, can't move around, and looks like he's just gonna get rid of it. Yeah,
it's dead. Yeah,
I think he played it a bit too early there.
Yeah, and I think about like the mobility of it. Yeah, he wanted to get it out so that Salem doesn't get his DK out. But if they both have gate up, like any DK summon is just responded with a gate. And the problem is it would be a bit more threatening if he could just ride his DK all the way over and, jump on Salem and then kill him. But the DK's confined to that little tiny area, so it didn't really work out that well for him. He does Shock Shield now, which I think maybe was a little bit late, but still good.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting play. So what I was originally thinking was he had a drain there, right? Like a double drain and a chance to kill the Swarm. So he would be at, what is that, like 250 or 240, 250 maybe? He probably would have been full HP.
240. I think 240 because he would take 20. Or no, actually, was the tree alive? Because Swarm's arcane, so you don't heal from it. So he would only
the tree is alive.
Okay, so then he would heal 50. So yeah, he'd be at 240.
Yeah, so he would have been at 240 with both minions dead. Now, I don't know if he was thinking that, hey, I could gain HP and get rid of these minions, but JG could come down and just, maybe launch a Mega at me or something. And maybe he thought, the Pegasus is trapped. There's no real way that he could get to me, unless he probably blessed from the past this. But that was an interesting choice to Shock Shield there.
Yeah, I think he's in a mindset of playing it pretty slow, which is the right approach against kind of a mirror book, where you're not really going to have an easy opportunity to just slap a Mega on someone.
Yeah, they do have to be a little careful though. Again, you only have 4 mud balls, right? And those can go very, very quickly. So I think they're probably at maybe 1 or 2 left each. And you don't really want to just use them all up. So, you're going to start seeing the tree come out, the Pegasus, for more spacing and trapping. But those mud balls will go very quick. Very quick.
Yeah, I think the Ink's positioning was a little bit non-optimal, or however you want to say it. Not ideal, because he towers out, for example, and he's still trapped. Like, he has to flash out now, which might be okay. Maybe just flashing out is fine. Definitely, if Salem's still trapped, getting out somehow is a great play. But, okay, yeah, he's able to kill the Swarm, but quick note for the viewer, he's actually not able to get out through that tree. He would have to burn another Blast from the Past, and even then, I think he would be able to escape, but using up those resources...
he could always go to the top side and get out, but it was an interesting choice though. Like, Ink decided to swarm his Swarm rather than just flashing it and letting the Swarm eat on the tree damage.
Yeah, eat the tree, and then he doesn't have that threat of being ticked again, and he can kill it with his Shock Shield.
Right, while still having his swarm available to him. So
Yep. Good eye there. I was thinking the same exact line.
You know what I miss? I really miss Arcane Bomb in these situations. Like, I know it's very risky and
Ah,
you
yeah.
need to have a learning curve of replacing Flash with Arcane Bomb. But in this kind of maps and this type of level match, you almost have no option, or you have no way to flash your enemy. It's very really rare that we see a flash going into sync in this map because of its generation. But the good thing about Arcane Bomb is that you get a little bit of phasing and timing when you're trying to free, if you can damage your opponent minions with the arcane arrows, you know.
Yeah, for sure. One tricky thing about Arcane Bomb, I'd say the main thing is that it's not very reliable to escape trees. But yeah, in these situations where you've got like a 10 health swarm, you can just kill it with one arrow. It's pretty awesome. Another thing to think about here is in a lot of these 60s matches, on pretty much any map, you're looking at the prots. You don't care about the health, generally. It's about, okay, what's my protection shield advantage? And Salem's had that for the whole match so far.
yeah. And he's also in a really great position. I mean, he's the Undead Pegasus. He still has the Swarm. He's got Shock Shield up. He still has Protection Shield. Ink is trapped. You know, there's a abundance of things he could do right now. I mean, if he had DK, it would probably be a decent time to, show it, or he could go for, some high damage. Looks like he just decides to play it safe though and throw up a Pro Shield.
I think that's great because again, that's the line I was thinking about when I was saying that. Well, it's about the protection shields, and now he's up 83 in the prot battle. A little bit of a suspect positioning of the Pegasus there because Ink's pretty much trapped regardless. And a small note for the viewer, he could have actually undead that Pegasus in just one turn. Remember, he just ticked it with the swarm and then it was undead the following turn. But he can drain it into the swarm while keeping Ink trapped. He wouldn't be able to hug him like that close, but that's an option. Okay, Salem's just saying, you know what, I've got a shield up, I've got a prod advantage, I've got a swarm. I'm just gonna go for it. Solid, I think.
So this is where like those little small differences in generic books really start to come into play. Like, obviously Jgsalem is being very aggressive, which is what you should be doing in a situation. But I mean, right here, this tells me Ink doesn't have Sanctuary, but you could have it, right? And like that's always a threat with like generic books, because you really don't know the entirety of the spells that somebody's running. I mean, I've seen so many different kinds of books. Like Goal had Whisper Bomb. Like that's something you'll never really see in a generic book. It might have DK. Some people don't bring DK. Some people don't bring Pegasus, and they'll bring aerials. Like there's a whole different things you could do with generic, and so, it's one of those things where generic can be such a drawing long match. But it's kind of like chess, right? Because it really it'll really show like how skilled the player can be, right? Like for example, when he put the undead Pegasus next to the tree, right, wanting to hit Ink with the aura of the Pegasus, he could have positioned it differently where he doesn't take any damage from that, right? Or like you said, drain, like, while still keeping him trapped. Like there's these little things that happen,
Boom!
that will just make a difference in the long run.
For sure. And we just saw that Pegasus just get clapped.
Yeah, I was gonna say, JJ's forgotten about Swamp that turn, and also the Pegasus. Like, when you're at this stage of this Armageddon, when the two clams come down, you will typically move your minions close to the floor. Especially, I would
Yeah.
put Pegasus
Yeah.
with Swamp together, but I think JJ just forgot about it.
Yeah, and now we're at a pretty, I would say, fairly level. One thing to note is, I believe Ink is now out of muds. Or maybe he might have one left, but...
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, clams are coming into play here.
A little lucky there.
Ink is kind of free. He should have, what, 2 BFDP left? 1 or 2?
Yeah, I would probably Blast from the Past out, look to get rid of the Swarm. the only thing that would hurt him is if he gets unlucky by a clam that will either hurt him or free Salem.
Yeah, so right here, if he gets hit by a clam and then it kills his swarm as well. One thing to watch too is if Salem gets hit by a clam and he's free, that opens up a mega opportunity if he has it. I'm not sure what Salem has for his last 2 spells. By that I mean there's like a list of like 14 pretty much generic spells. You know, the Flight Prot, Shock Shield, Protection Shield, DK stuff. And it looks like you can fill that out with Mud and Mega to finish out your book, but I'm not sure Salem has those.
Yeah, I've also noticed Ink hasn't played his own Pegasus, so I'm not sure if he has that and
Yeah.
what he brought as a replacement.
Yeah, does he have a Skyray or an Aura? Who knows? Looks like he's running away. Okay. Decent positioning there. Maybe Rayable, but I don't know if Salem has it again. We're kind of waiting to see.
Smart move. I probably would have been a little more careful with that minion placement. You know, maybe put it in the middle of that terrain to the left so that the Pegasus can't eat that aura.
Yeah.
But it's just little things like that. Obviously, only have 30 seconds, right? But it comes down to when you're playing generic, it just comes down to those little nuances of, you know, is my minion in the right place? Can I put myself in the right place? You know, did I bring a spell that might give me the advantage over the next person? The little things like that, which is you know, really interesting to see, because as you get closer and closer to, you know, the ending of this tournament, you know, you're gonna see those great players that come out and just are thinking of all of that, and you only have 30 seconds, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Now we're getting into the middle game where they're running out of their limited use spells, and we notice that because of the clam killing the Pegasus, Salem's undead Pegasus, the game has slightly shifted in Ink's favor. Again, I look at the prod advantage. If I'm Salem, I might consider running away and prodding myself, shifting my focus back from offensive to defensive. And he did that, but he didn't really run. He's just right there open for Ink to just hit him. So
Yeah.
it may come back to bite him.
So that's the thing. I mean, there's obviously 2 options, right? Playing the more passive route where you run away and you cross shield. Obviously, you want to look for a decent positioning, but the other one is just being aggressive. Like, being aggressive can also be a very great counter or, you know, defensive play, because let's say Salem, instead of cross shielding, decided to, you know, chuck a shock bomb, you know, right on top where that mud ball is, like that spacing there, and just knock Ink out of flight. Sure, he's vulnerable to another attack, but it wouldn't be like that bad, right? He's already got Ink at a point where, you know, he's on a lot of cooldowns. He can't really go anywhere. He's gonna have to lob something, and so it's, you know, I want to see a bit more aggressiveness in that way.
There it is, mech arrow. Okay.
Nice. That's a great mech arrow.
Wait, he almost sank him there. That would have been sick. And just like you pointed out, you need to consider cooldowns. So like now, for example, if I'm correct, Ink's flight is down, so it's a little bit harder for him to move around. But he saw an avenue to get there, and he can ladder with the swarm. So fantastic vision
He
there.
almost messed that up.
Fantastic vision there by Ink, and he's going to be able to kill the Pegasus. He doesn't have a lot of time though, so he just has to go for a passive tower. Not to say he could really do that much. Yeah, I mean, Mega is not really a spell that, oh, you've got someone flighted in open space. Can you just throw a Mega? Not really. It's tough. You gotta rely on the chip damage. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, now in this situation, right? So the previous one where Salem went and cross shielded, I would have been aggressive there. But now in this situation, I would be more defensive because Ink has a tower up and the Aura minion, the swarm. So here I would probably look to just hide somewhere and throw up a Pegasus, right? And try to get yourself some type of defense and something that's drainable and just some type of protection. Looks like he's being very aggressive, but this is the problem.
Oh,
no, but he misses the
no.
mega.
That was a ballsy move.
Wow,
Another-
it really was.
Oh my god.
Okay, well,
He could have
little-
scoot down. Just scoot down and lob it a little bit.
yeah.
Let it expand, and then if a mega is, when it expands, it's got obviously a bigger surface area. It's easier to hit. But with that little, just tiny boulder, it's easy to miss. So now
Yeah,
Ink
that
is
was-
down a huge win con there, one of his megas.
Yeah, well, let's assume he did hit that, right? The chance was there. He just couldn't execute. But that
Oh,
chance
Q.
is what I was talking about, right? Where
Yeah.
if that mega boulder had worked, he is now at a huge advantage. So you have to
Yeah.
be careful how you play being aggressive. Oh, interesting. He decides to just shock shield and trade. Wonder
Yeah,
what he's gonna do now.
Yeah, I saw this as an option, but I was curious, what's your follow-up?
His
Maybe
tower's
just
on cooldown, so he
Get
might
ready.
just drain or summon something.
or prot. Okay, very interesting. I think problem is he loses out on the trades, or does he?
Does JJ have drain though?
I would hope so.
We haven't seen JJ drain, so maybe that's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
he does have it.
And now as I was saying, he's losing out on the trades, but the reason why I hesitated there is because Ink does have a chance to drain back, which pretty much is his only viable option. But he's gonna be in some trouble here potentially.
Yeah, I don't like how he positioned that drain because it frees up Salem. He still could have trapped them and just drained to the left side of that tree.
Oh,
And wow, there he
ow.
goes. Yeah, man.
That's gonna be sore in the morning.
Again, little things like that, like, okay, if he had placed a better drain while keeping him trapped, he probably could have prevented that mega boulder. Now he's in a situation where he's gonna have to find a way to trap him, run away, just kind of reset, because he's down so much HP.
Okay, so he's worked out one defensive line, which is to use his last mud, which is important to point out. Ink doesn't really have any ways to stall, and he's lethal too with the shock bomb from Salem or his second mega boulder. I mean, it's just a buffet of lethality
He's gonna
basically.
get double clamp.
Oh wait,
Has an opportunity.
wait. Now it's important here. I haven't been paying careful attention to every single cooldown, but what the status of Salem's flight is.
I believe he does have flight. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh no! This
Oh
is gonna
god.
hurt.
Wait, this could
might
just
be
game.
games.
This could be game because of the clam. He does have flight. Okay, you were right, Union. Man,
Yeah,
what a
that's
tough,
very unfortunate.
what a tough play here.
Well,
Hopefully
he has to be careful here though.
doesn't-
If he goes from under, it might not work.
Mhm.
Oh, it
Okay.
does. Okay, nice.
Okay, mega, yeah. I was thinking shock bomb. It could just fall if he doesn't alt extend it. But nice game there by Salem. And leaves me to wonder, are they going to mix it up or just trust their ability in these generic matches? Because this one was pretty close, but Ink ended up falling prey to the greedy highlight play.
I've seen Ink switch his books really frequently on this tournament matches. When I played against Ink, he played 3 different books when he went against me. Every single match that we played, the next one he will change or swap some spells in his book. So I will say that Ink's gonna swap some spells.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's still going to be a generic battle, but like I said, there's a couple spell slots that could make all the difference, right? So I'm going to expect him to swap something out and just have something that it could be maybe an entangle or sanctuary. That's what I'm kind of betting on. But I
Yeah,
don't think we're going to see a huge difference in book changes.
It would be funny if, and looks like the game has started. It would be funny. Oh, and I just loaded up the wrong game. If they both suspected that they were going to bring generic again, so they both brought sanctuary, and then it's just another generic versus generic, just without shock shield.
Yeah, so in this situation, and this is what Jgsalem was saying, is like Arcane Bomb would be amazing right now,
Yeah.
right? Because it's typically like the opener in 30 Oceans that we've seen a lot is, you know, flighting and then just throwing a mud ball. So in this situation, if you had Arcane Bomb, you know, you just stick it to the mud and the arrows will knock the other player down, and now they're on a cooldown with their flight.
Even if you
Oh, yeah.
if you know that your enemy has Arcane Bomb, you will have to force yourself into a really weird position to mudball him while still fighting, you know, so...
Damn, that's such
Oh,
a great mech
Jesus.
arrow.
That was a 78 mech arrow. A little bit hasty by Ink there to not anticipate the mech arrow, because he literally brought mech arrow the game before. And even something as simple as like the same opener, mudball into flight prot, can pretty confidently confirm that, oh, they may very well have the exact same book if they're playing in the similar style from the opening. Okay, hiding on this map, I would say in my experience, has proven to be very successful. So I think JG will have to be careful with how he chooses to be aggro here. If I'm him, I would want to push, because you don't want Ink to start to build up an advantage, and Ink is going to do just that, try and stall.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, you're up by 1 in the series, right? You only need 1 more game. You're in a pretty good position where you've made your opponent teleport away. Obviously, you want to be a little aggro, but how aggro is the question, right? Like, honestly, I was thinking he could have teleported in there with him, right? Use up the shock shield, knock some damage off. He might be vulnerable to you know, a hard hitting spell, but not enough to kill him within 1 or 2 turns. And so, you know, he could look to summon his Dark Knight. He could look to trade megas. I mean, there's so much you could do. But he chooses to play just a little safe, right? Like, let me just Broad Shield up, put a Pegasus, and then slowly dig down.
I'm too scared to teleport in that situation. Like, oh my god. Imagine all the different lines that you'd have to calculate. For example, like, okay, you teleport in, Ink takes 25 damage, and then you take 25 from his shock shield. He's got BFTP to move you around to set up like a potential mega boulder. He's got that top ledge that he can hop on to shock bomb, and you can't really mega him from that top ledge. Would a BFTP knock him down? So there's all these different questions, and I would just be like, nope, I'm not jumping into that can of worms. I'm just gonna stay up top. And it might serve him to just wait all the way until the late game and say, I'm up a game, I'm gonna leave this up to the clams, the RNG, and just play my game. I haven't been on the boat this whole time. Pathetic.
Yeah, we're still not seeing the Pegasus out from Ink. So he's hiding something. And I don't know if he's just waiting for the right time to use it, or if he just hasn't had a chance to use it. But, you know, typically in generic books, you'll see Pegasus. But the fact that he hasn't been playing it, like, you have to have something that's, you know, you're just hiding up your sleeve, waiting for that right moment.
Yeah, are we forgetting it? What, I mean, we haven't seen like an aura or like an arcane egg, or have we seen pebbles? That fits normally into the basic generic book anyway, so you would still have another slot.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't think we've seen pebbles either. So it's, you know, you see the flash digs, but I don't think I've seen pebbles this game or last game.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if he brought like a gargoyle or something, like a no-peg gargoyle book. That'd be sweet. That's proven to work pretty well.
Yeah, but you think he would have summoned it by now, right? Right now he's just playing
Yeah.
very passively, you know, trying to keep spacing, utilizing the tree. But we haven't really seen a spell coming out from Ink that's like, whoa, that catches us by surprise, and it's like, okay,
Right.
this could potentially be a game changer. I'm not sure what he has because he's hiding, he's trying to keep spacing, but it looks like he's just just trying to get himself on traps. Maybe he's creating space. I'm not sure what's going on in his head. Maybe he's thinking of something that we're just not aware of yet.
Yeah. Tricky BFTP there from Salem. Especially tricky in flight. I don't quite remember. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Double?
Oh,
It
man.
misses the swarm, but that still does something. Yeah, that's interesting about that flight BFTP. I did do a video on that. I was thinking about back on it if I did it in flight. I'll have to take another look. But he doesn't quite get that angle right. And so he wasn't able to escape. And he got clammed as a result. Maybe he knew that the clam was coming, but he just wasn't able to avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, clam, it's very hard to predict, right? And it's very RNG based. But, I do want to point out a couple things from both players where with Salem, if you noticed, he had the Pegasus above the swarm. Some people might not think anything of it, but it basically he's protecting a swarm from any sort of aerials, right? So in this instance, Brian came down.
Oh god.
Oh no, that's
Oh god. Wait, is that both?
Man.
That's both. Oh, it doesn't even kill Inks. Ooh, this is bad.
Oh man, that's I mean, there you go. RNG clams, right? It can change the whole game. What I was saying was, he protected his swarm by blocking it with the Pegasus above him. Brian came down, right? So that's one thing to know. It's like little things like that can give you the edge. And then with Ink, it's knowing how large the aura on the swarm is. And he's like, you know what? Like, there's enough spacing where I can take it to that top of the terrain to just chip some damage off him. So the awareness from both players is just fantastic.
Maybe a slight miscalculation there by Ink to just go for the prot.
Yeah,
And
I will go.
Yeah. Oh my god!
what?
What a clam!
Sniped. Holy shit. Never mind. It's not a miscalculation by Ink. What the fuck? That is wild.
Yeah, I mean, you have
Wow.
75 shields. You have the chance to be a bit aggressive here.
Wait,
No, there's another clam.
Wait. What is going on?
Oh.
157. Oh my god. Someone jinxed me. I just said, oh, slight miscalculation by Ink, and then Pure was like programming the clams to just snipe Salem. Absolutely insane.
It doesn't surprise me, like.
Yeah.
I've been saying the entire tournament that clams are basically just like Skyrain in Armageddon, where the Skyrain will literally target you every now and a while, So it's always a risk that you have to keep in mind that a clam is just gonna hit you directly, just like Skyrain Armageddon,
But I also think Salem could have done some things to avoid, like, you don't necessarily want to position yourself in a hole.
Absolutely.
And obviously, like, if I'm on ocean floor, I am looking at that little opening right there, the flash size opening at the top, and I'm thinking a clam could really screw me over right about now. And so I'm leaving that area. I'm getting out of there. But instead, he got a little too greedy and got hit with the double clam action. Of course, yeah, there's an RNG element to clams, but I feel like Salem wasn't really helping himself there, unfortunately. It went Ink's way, and he is still up a swarm, so that helps him out. But Ink has, I mean, so many moves here that he could do that would be good. I can't tell you any of them because I'm a noob, but there's a lot of them. Union, do you see any lines? What are some options?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting he decided to use his flight, because he only has 20 protection shield,
Yeah.
I probably would have just stayed in my tower and,
Yeah,
and
and-
just casted the shock shield.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the right move, actually. I think just Ink just like bugged for a second, you know.
Yeah, you're in 30s and you think, oh, it's 60s because you're playing a 60s book pretty much. Even I, looking at this game, I'm thinking, oh, they're in 60s. But then all of a sudden, you look at Salem's timer right now, 3, 2, 1. Oh God, what do I do?
Yeah, so this is gonna be interesting how he chooses to position.
Another clam.
Oh man.
Oh, wait, actually, oh, we can't reveal what could happen, but yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah, because the clam did 50. So, oh no, this is just over.
Oh, is he going for the flash?
Oh no! Oh, it's still good though. Still good. But
Wait,
unfortunately,
interesting.
he lost.
Why
his
wouldn't he go for a mega though?
Yeah, he could. He could have. Maybe he was hoping not to get stunned by the shield and then just flash sync him and then have a free turn, which I think was fine. But I would have gone for the damage for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's even a potential that you could have damaged and sunk him.
That's true
Um,
too. Yeah.
But yeah, very interesting. He decided to go for the flash.
Yeah, but now Mega was so much better, I think. Honestly, now that I think about it more, Union, because he just shock shielded and he sunk his shield off. And now he has to waste a turn to kill the swarm, which he can't do with shock shield because it's on cooldown. So, okay, we see aura.
Hmm.
So aura, and what else did we see from Ink? Anything? I'm
Yeah.
forgetting.
I don't think he showed
Nothing else?
the entirety of his book. I mean, he's got to be hiding something. Maybe he might not have mega. I'm really not sure. I mean, I'm trying to understand these decisions in this situation. I think aura is a huge, can give you a huge edge in this match in this situation because Salem is trapped in the hole and the aura can cover that terrain. But the fact that he decided to aura both, it doesn't kill the swarm. I would think that you would want to kill the swarm first and then aura, right?
Yep. Okay, so he saw a line though. He was thinking a few turns ahead. This is one option. But I agree, Union. If I am in this game in that position, I would definitely kill the swarm first and just say, oh, it sucks that I don't have shock shield, but I still gotta kill this swarm. And interesting that Salem chose to be FTP. Not necessary. And also, with the positioning of the aura there, could have placed it a little bit more to the center, but because he wanted to tick the swarm too, he moved it over a little bit. And I see Salem as being able to potentially stall pretty well here. And so we're locked in a little bit of a stalemate. We're going to have to look at the clams, as Wom keeps saying. We'll have to see
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah, if no one looks to dig themselves, in or out, it'll definitely come down to clams. And honestly, if I'm Ink, I'd probably look to just set myself up. If you have Pegasus, great. It looks like he doesn't, so maybe it's, casting a spirit or shielding, right? And just setting yourself up. Let clams do the work for you, and then go for your push.
Yeah, for sure. And here, some options that are overlooked is that when you're stalling, it's important to make room. And especially, like, we know that Ink has aura. And, of course, we see Salem choose to make some room there. So that's always an option for him to be able to avoid auras. You see this a lot in low times. So like 7G, 10G, or 10 anything. You're going to get aura'd and you're going to have to make space to move out.
Yeah, so can I just add that this whole tempo that JJ has now, it's because the decision of Ink to flashing instead of Mega Boulder there, Oh, he has
Oh, he
Ink.
does have pebbles.
Interesting.
Nice.
Okay, this is great for Ink now. JG, even in a position where a clam could end up in there somehow. I cannot see the angle at all, but by some miracle, It could happen.
Interesting. So he's choosing to stay down. He doesn't want to go up. He potentially could have gone up and just mudballed, but he's keeping his distance. I mean, at this point, yeah, he could summon a swarm or shock shield. I probably would have shock shield. He has to be careful with the clams. He has very little room, and dang, that's just an
Oh,
unfortunate
no.
clam.
Oh no, and then what he can do is gain a lot of tempo here with that undead minion. Another option Salem had is to tree that pebble hole.
Yeah, he could have treated it, but it kind of just goes back to Ink revealed he has pebbles, right? So next turn he could just pebble down again, and that tree would have been wasted. I think at that point, the best move would have been to use your shock shield, because even in this situation, right, where the clam came, Ink was able to steal the Pegasus. Your shock shield could have just gotten rid of the Pegasus, and you would have been able to continue on your, your setting up in that cavern.
Yeah, and Salem, I think he's got the right approach. He's doing what he has to do, which is, if you're down, you do not want to open up. Like, do not flash and allow a giant mega or anything like that. Unfortunately for him, staying in this tree, it looks like he is at danger of taking some damage, but I'm not sure Ink is going for that. It looks like he is instead opting to play it slow and just grind him down. Yep.
Yeah, not a bad move at all. He could have also looked to
oh, not quite.
Maybe even chuck a Mega Boulder to just gain that advantage, but I'm also very happy with that move. Right, he's already trapped. He's going to take the aura damage unless he teleports. You have Shock Shield where you can push next turn and then, throw up a Mega or something. So Ink is playing this really, really nicely.
Yeah, and think about the first game. Who got the Undead Pegasus? Salem. Who won the game? Salem. Now we're in the opposite position. Who has the Undead Peg? Ink. Who's in the driver's seat? Not one. In the driver's seat. Ink again. And so much tick damage available to him now. 15 plus 25 plus a huge opportunity to just seize control right here.
Yeah. This could definitely be a win for Ink here. If he can get a good Mega Boulder off. I mean,
but instead he's choosing not to. It's interesting. Maybe he swapped Mega out for something a little bit more defensive or safe, because he saw that in game 1 he just said, screw it, I'm just going to lob this Mega, and it didn't work out for him, and he doesn't want to fall into that trap again, so maybe he swapped it out of his book.
That's true. But it still bugs me that we're not seeing the entirety of their spell books. I'm not sure what they're hiding.
It's potentially only one spell at this point. Maybe they both have DK and they haven't used it. So we know Salem is DK generic with Mech Arrow. And one other spell we're not sure about. And Ink is DK generic with Aura. And one other spell we're not sure about.
Well, he does have Pebbles, which helps a lot.
Aura and Pebbles. Okay. I think that's the whole book.
Wait.
Aura, Pebbles.
Wait, I just missed what happened here. Did he misplace a trick or did he Q?
Wait, that's a good question. I think he went for a shock shield when he ran away.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Maybe he just didn't have anything that he could do. Well, I mean, GG's. I mean, Ink just played that amazingly, closed it out.
The Clams played it amazingly too.
Yeah, definitely. But the series is 1-1 now, so went to game 3, and the winner of this next one will advance, and they'll end up playing me. So
Oh yeah,
You're
you're
basically studying them, right?
Yeah, I'm taking notes right now.
yeah, and you were right, Union. It was a misplaced tree. He did tree, but Ink was able to just walk right out.
Oh, gotcha.
And that was funny that we just kind of like bypassed that and ignored it and thought, oh, he's just able to walk over there? What the hell? So, kind of interesting. This series very back and forth and generic focused. So I don't expect these two players to deviate. But also you can't really guarantee who's going to win. We'll at least be able to see, okay, who's got first turn. They just started the match.
Yeah,
Ink
so no
here.
level 3s. But again, generic versus generic. Maybe some slight spell changes.
Yeah, I'm interested. Does he deviate from his typical opener of flying all the way up and mudballing?
You might go look for a shock shield here.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, I like making this opener, but it does leave you a little vulnerable because, you know, he could escape with a blast from the past, mudball you, and now you're flightless.
Ooh,
Right?
nice
And he
shot
could
with the
fight.
tomato there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Best
so
course
great.
of action. It's a little bit tricky here. Might be counterintuitive. Yeah, mudball's good. Shock shield in response might be okay. Of course, you're down a little bit of health. Because you'll
Yeah,
get
well,
like,
this is great because now he's able to utilize his own flight and just fly away and protection shield, right? And it's either going to force Ink to get out of that tower and push him with no flight, or just force him to just summon some type of minion.
yeah, go under. There he goes. Yeah. It's hard because you got to know immediately what you're doing. And looks like he was a little delayed there, Salem, but he's going to be able to get to a decent position. Ink has some options, with Storm Spirit actually being quite good when you have Shield. It's almost as good as Swarm to threaten a Shock Shield, and then you've got potentially 50 passive chip damage that you can do. 25 with your own shield, and then 25 with your Storm Spirit shield.
Great
So that's
shot.
even more than Swarm. Ooh,
Oh, nice.
nice. And some passive damage there from the cogs. Or I don't know what you call that, but yeah, he was able to double hit there, which was nice. Ink looking like he was about to aim. His character,
Yeah, it looks like he might launch a
switched.
ball over.
Yeah, you just gotta make sure that you're aiming that pretty well. I would say you roughly aim for pretty much his
Oh no!
body, but he is just barely missed it. Maybe you have to aim that just a little bit higher toward his helmet, or maybe even a little bit higher than that. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly how I would aim it, but it's a little tricky.
It's unfortunate, but you know, it doesn't hurt him as much, right? He's still in this tower. Salem doesn't have anything that could really hurt him. You know, so it really sucks he missed that motor ball, but it's not gonna cost him.
Sorry to interrupt you guys, but just outside on the sidewalk, I saw a huge mud ball land outside. Did you guys see? Where did that come from?
Are you okay? Were you able to take cover or protect the children?
I think it's gonna be okay, you know?
Okay,
I've got
alright.
a case of tomatoes by my desk here. I think I'll eat them up and be alright, but let you guys get back to the match. Just watch yourselves, alright?
Yeah, good shout, Pierce. Good shout. That was we gotta be careful. So okay, I'd say Salem is in not a commanding position. Obviously, you know, he's not just gonna pull out this win immediately spell. It's gonna be a game of chip damage, but he's up 2 minions, and you gotta look at minions, even in 30s. Okay, interesting move there by Ink. What do you think he's doing with that Union?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely looking to teleport and then run away, which is interesting. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of aggression this series. It's a lot more defensive-minded from both players. I mean, in that situation, I'm looking to just shock shield, and I'm basically going to tell Salem, like, just attack me. Just come towards me so that I can fly and kill your swarm and mudball you. And I'm happy to trade with you. Ink, on the other hand, is more defensive minded, where, you know, he puts a tree up and he's probably going to. Oh, there he goes. Now he uses the shock shield. He's probably using that as a as like a backup. You know, like, hey, I'm gonna try to go blow for blow with you up here, but if it doesn't turn out the way I want to, I have the option to teleport away and hide. Right. He's probably also threatening Salem with that, maybe wanting Salem to switch his attention off of Ink and maybe look to open that space. Those are the only things I can really think of.
Yeah, what would you do in this situation, Wom, if you were in Ink's spot?
Like right now?
Sure.
Well, JJ has minion superiority, but because of the opponent, right? But he has also protect shield superiority, so it's a really weird spot. You know, I don't know if Ink has 3 at this time. I will definitely try to separate the map somehow with the 3 on the middle and try to create some space, or I will definitely teleport under one of these caves to gain a little bit of spacing and facing, you know? Because staying, like Ink staying now, it's just gonna allow JJ to keep up the pressure, you know? See?
Yeah, for sure. I would consider hiding pretty soon, or he may end up having to burn some of his mud balls in order to help with stalling and maybe whittle down that prot advantage, which I keep talking about. It's 75 to 0, so Ink's in a bit of a dire situation. That being said, the Pegasus, I don't see it as really threatening. The main threat was the Swarm, which he was able to nullify with the shock shield. So
But
Ink
then
in a
again,
decent position.
then again, it's always easy to see and comment these games, but when you're playing them, it's really different, you know. And this is a point that I've spoken to with a lot of tournament competitors, contest, what's the word?
Contestants or
Yeah, sorry.
Competitors or contestants, yeah.
Competitors, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a point, you know, where they're like, yeah, but it's so easy now that I'm watching it, but when I'm playing it, it's so difficult and time just running out, you know. And
Right.
even though all of the players that are in the main tournament are really good players and top players and stuff, they also make mistakes. They also choke. They also let the time run past them, you know. So it's really not always. They don't usually or all the time have a reason to make a play, or they are making the best play, you know. It's just because they are humans,
Yeah.
like us, you know.
Yeah, it's just instinct, or maybe, you know, panic can set in. Like we've been saying, feels like this is a 60s game, but then you look at the time and then there's 5 seconds and you're like, oh shit. Of course, now clams are going to come into play. We saw the brine take the swarm below 15, so Ink was able to kill it, and also now the brine kills Salem's Pegasus, and all of a sudden, what do we have here? A fairly even game where Ink is down a little bit of health, but again, in 30s and 60s, 40, 50 health, not a huge deal really. Especially on Ocean, where you have so many areas that you can hide.
Yeah, I want to go back to like the gameplay. So if you notice right before the armor getting hit, you know, I think Ink wanted to shock shield that Pegasus. He burned a blast from the past and couldn't make the jump that he wanted to. Was low on time, so he just cog towered. But the Arma was on his side, right? Because the Brine came down, dropped the Swarm below 15 HP. He has Aura, so he was able to kill it off. And on top of that, a Clam lands and takes away a majority of Salem's shield. So that's the thing about this is, you know, even if you make a mistake, all it takes is just a little bit of luck, and now everything is, you're basically on top now.
Yeah, now Salem's approach is going to be, okay, well, all my minion advantage is gone, but I'm up a bit of health, so I'm going to try to push it. But I was thinking, oh, he's up a bit of health, but actually he's not. Ink is at 220, so it's pretty even. But this puts Ink in an awkward spot. When you've got someone towered, yeah, often mudballing a tower is not the best, because what do? Just, you know, escape. And they're still towered. If he is calculating, you know, how much health there's left in the tower and he wants to go for some type of play there, that's possible, but we'll see what ends up happening.
Yeah, no, the great decision in Mud Ball because it does two things. One, actually, it does three things, right? One, he's trapped. Two, he's gonna take aura damage next turn. And three, you're basically buying yourself another turn for that shock shield to end, right?
Yep.
Your protection shield on your own CDs. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah,
is a
so-
case where often I would say mud balls are a bit more of a waste on towers, but in this particular case, it actually helps him out a lot.
Yeah, interesting. He didn't decide to use another Mud Ball. He goes for the protection shield. He's gonna eat 25 damage here. But I'm curious to see what Salem decides to do. He's either gonna respond with a Mud Ball, look to deflight him, maybe with a drain. But honestly, if he could get off some damage while deflighting him, that probably would have been best.
Yeah, these situations where there's no prot, very tricky. Kind of risky. You have to keep a close eye on all your opponent's cooldowns to know, okay, do they have shock shield this turn? Can Ink fly over and slap me with a mega or not? Am I able to prod up and be more defensive? And if you're not keeping track of your own and your opponent's cooldowns, then this can get really dicey very fast. I'm thinking of like Grav Pulse in this situation. Would just absolutely destroy any of these players because they just love to go all the way up to the top of the map and prot and shock shield and, you know, all their shields. Salem maybe overlooked a little bit of the brine coming down. Takes some damage, not the end of the world, but 38 versus 50, yeah, who knows if that is going to come into play later. So if you're Ink, are you thinking about relocating or are you content with being at the top of the map? What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I think he's in a good spot. I would just throw up a shock shield, honestly, and threaten the shield in my next few turns. There's no threat. Oh, lock the mega!
Oh, okay, 2. It doesn't do that much damage, but he went for it.
It doesn't do much, but it does kill the protection shield, kills his flight. They're both on cooldown. And the Pegasus is only 15 HP, which is a swarmable that can be stolen. And so, I mean, obviously not the best damage-wise, but it could help him get the advantage if he plays these next few turns right.
But, as I was thinking just now, I was going to say, if Salem has tower, pretty much that mega is wasted. Because the idea is, oh, he megas, and then the prod is down. Okay, the prod is down, and then he's able to respond aggressively, because Salem will be detowered. He doesn't have any defensive tools, but he did have a defensive tool in the tower. So pretty much kind of threw that mega to the wind. And he's able to undead his own Pegasus, feed it to the aura that Ink has up there. It's looking like he's swung this game into his favor, briefly.
Oh, man.
Shock bomb. He was hoping to get the minions.
Interesting because was the aura active last turn? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I love the risky plays from Ink. You know, like that. It takes some serious guts to do something like that, right? Usually players will want to play it safe, especially in a game 3 like this, right? So props to him for going for these shots. But me not trusting in my ability to lob something, I probably would have. I'm not too worried about the Pegasus, honestly. Even if it's undead, it's not too much of a threat at this moment. I probably would have looked to set up, whether that's summoning my own swarm, a spirit shield, or a spirit, a Pegasus, like anything, any type of minion that I could use in the following turns. Because that Pegasus will eventually, I mean, I could trap it, it could just die to brine or to clams. It's not too much of a threat in this map. And it looks like he thought it was, which is why he probably lobbed that shock bomb. But I probably would have gone a different route.
Yeah, the brine ticks at the undead Pegasus, and as we can see, that does 40 plus damage. That's a lot.
Yeah,
and
so
now,
he could.
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
the swarm is getting down low. He's got the shield.
Yeah,
There's
King
a
of
lot
Rain.
of options.
Oh,
In real
interesting.
tempo.
He's saying, okay, the arm is going to deal with those 2 minions. Maybe he wants to keep him trapped here and develop his
Swamp,
own.
maybe.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't think the brine will finish off the Pegasus. I thought that the shock shield,
Ooh.
he would have shock shielded and then it would have died. But it looks like he just wants to go for the damage, which is
Okay,
just fine,
interesting
I
play.
guess.
Yeah,
Okay, so JJ is in a really bad position here.
Not so much because he could blast from the past out of this, and that's a
as long as he
potential
knows it.
for a.
Yeah, there you go. Wait,
I think he,
Yeah,
he
that
has
looks
it. He
good.
has it.
okay.
He does have a potential to throw a mega or to trap and turn it around,
He can.
but he does leave himself a little vulnerable to like a flash.
Yeah.
Oh, this. So a note for the viewers: this actually doesn't work.
Oh, the
Oh.
clams.
But oh,
Oh, okay.
Definitely
Dang.
flashable. JJ
So
is
close.
definitely flashable.
yeah, we'll see what Ink chooses to do here.
It's a really good
Man,
angle to be
You
flashed.
gotta go for the sink at this point.
Yeah,
I don't
Oh,
think he could afford it.
why did he do that? I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. A flash there would be.
is
Now
he
the
maybe
flash
trying to
is
go
so
for the
tricky.
shock bomb sink?
The flash is so tricky.
No,
Oh
Yeah, he-
no,
Oh,
he
so
didn't catch the
that's
right
gotta
angle.
be game.
well,
Yeah.
what I was going to say, but I wanted to be careful not to guide, is Salem can be flashed through his own Pegasus. Like he can be flashed through the like it's not going to stop him and impede his path into the water.
Right.
And so Ink could have just easily flashed as if there's no minion there. You just pretend that there's no Pegasus there. He would go straight through it, and that would be just a win. So Ink
Yeah.
overlooks that at
I
the
saw,
last
I
moment.
saw the flash angle of that beneath, you know. If you went under the tree and point your flash to a little bit of the left top, that wouldn't be the right angle to flash, even not hitting the Pegasus, you know.
Yeah. And Ink just wasn't confident in that mechanic, or perhaps forgot about it, which is understandable, especially in 30s. And Salem, he just mentioned in the lobby chat actually, like, oh, do I go through my peg or does it save me? And I said, no, it doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, Pegasus will not catch you if you're flying that fast with so much momentum. You're just gonna go right through it. Unless you're landing softly, it could catch you. But in that situation, he could have just flashed. It would have gone right through. But I mean, GG's. I mean, great showing from both players. I mean, they both brought generic, and we saw a little bit of spell differences. But it all came down to like the small things, right? The micros, the positioning, those small decisions, and congratulations to Salem for moving on. And Ink, at least you can come back and comp with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I respect, like you were saying, Union, the audacity to the confidence to go for the offensive plays. You know, not a lot of people do that.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, Ink has my respect. He goes for these shots that are incredibly hard. If you're able to hit him, there's a huge benefit. But of course, it's so high risk that if it misses or it doesn't land where you want to land, it kind of leaves you in a vulnerable spot. But like I said, man, it takes a lot of guts. The only other player I've seen do actually maybe two other players that I know have that would be OA and Cadius.
Yeah. Just having that comfortability with throwing a lob and going for the more aggro play, you mean?
Yeah, just having your ability and knowing, how fast the spell is gonna be, when it'll explode, or how it'll bounce, and just having that ability to chuck a bomb and then having it hit.
Yeah, it looks like we have both of them in here for an interview. Hey Ink, hey Salem, how are you guys doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Yo, what's up?
Going on, guys. Yeah, that was a great series. Salem, congratulations. I want to start with the obvious question, right? Which is, Ink, did you know about the Pegasus mechanic? Of being able to just flash and
Yes.
that it would go through. Okay, so
Yes.
what was going through your mind there when you decided to blast from the past?
I was actually thinking Mega, but
Oh,
yeah, I was like, 125, kind of on the edge. I don't know, some like bad bounce, it might not work. So yeah, then I sort of like backed out of that. I didn't like where he landed, so yeah, I decided against the Mega last second and went for Flash instead and failed.
got it. So you're looking to just end it all right there and then. Okay. Well, then, same question for Salem. I mean, I saw it in the chat, but just to reconfirm, so were you aware of that mechanic? Because I know you positioned yourself in a pretty vulnerable spot, and I wasn't sure if you knew that and you took that into consideration, or if you thought that your Pegasus would have caught you.
Yeah, no, I thought the peg was going to catch me, so definitely a mistake by me. But moving forward, it's good to know.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let me see. Again, I'm not the greatest at these kind of questions. So Pierce, Coeval, or Wiseau Man looks like he might have stepped away. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, so one question I was wondering is, looking at these 3 games, this series as a whole, I'm wondering if you guys have learned anything from each other that you can take into future games. It seemed like, for the most part, from what I've seen, both of you guys played pretty similarly with your style. Ink, you had a few risky lobs that you went for, whereas Salem was more defensive, but both of you generally played pretty defensive. Was there ever any kind of moments where you felt like, oh, I'm going to take this into my next match, maybe learn some new tricks?
Salem, you want to answer?
I can go first. Yeah, definitely. Ink is really good at the recovery game, and I've been playing kind of like 60G, different types of like standard maps, and if I go second, I've always really struggled with recovering. Like, I'm pretty decent at putting the pressure on when I'm ahead, but playing from behind, I'm pretty terrible at. So, Ink has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. I think he was setting up game 3 with the Spirit Tree to potentially hide. I don't know if that was true, but kind of looking ahead in terms of how he was going to recover. Definitely, things that I can add to my game.
Yeah, for sure. Ink, any insights there?
Yeah, I will confirm that tree was like done in advance. It's a play I like rarely make, actually, but like at that point I didn't really have any better moves. Like if I summon a swarm, it dies. I summon a spirit, it dies. If I get a tower, I probably just lose the game right there. And there wasn't really anywhere good to hide on that map, so that's sort of why I made the play. The odd time I'll make that in like 60G, but I don't know. I didn't feel like it was a good play because it's sort of just like, yeah, okay, I'm getting up top, and I don't know. It's not that good. It's not that like good of a play at the higher levels. It's the reason why I think a lot of people don't do it. But I think there was okay. Like it was the best move I had, sadly. But yeah, I noticed I don't really have that much insight. Like the only thing I did differently was I changed DK out for Aura because I felt like DK just hasn't been doing anything for me this tournament. And yeah, Aura with like in this case, in a lot of maps where it's closed off, it can be very helpful. putting pressure.
I have a question for Ink.
Go for it.
Where's the Frost Giant?
Good question. So I see you're in Frost. I left Frost a while back. I used to be the leader of it, but yeah, I'm no longer a Frost Giant. I know you probably remember that, huh? I remember you were playing in like season 9. You probably recognized me for that back then.
Yeah, you always played Frost Giant, and even earlier in the tournament, you were playing Frost Giant, and I was like really nervous because I'm like, how am I going to deal with Frost Giant? And then I didn't see it.
Yeah, I was experimenting a lot with like the previous games in the group stage, and I will say that honestly, like the book you had would have probably crushed Frost Giant because SS is like extremely good against Frost mixes.
Yeah, I was thinking the chip damage would help me out. I almost took so the original book that I'm running that I kind of swapped out. I was going to run Ice Shield, and I was going to run Cuckoo Clock. And I almost thought about subbing out Cuckoo Clock for an Ice Tower because of your Frost Giant. I was like, I don't know if it's going to help me, but maybe.
Oh wow, yeah. I don't know. I think like SS Mega type stuff just dominates on this map. To be honest, maybe there's some like really good flightless mixes as well, but I'm not that good with flightless personally. So
Yeah, me
that's
neither.
part of why I didn't bring it. I just brought sort of what I was comfortable with.
Yeah. Quick question. Sorry to interrupt. I just had a quick question for Salem. So in game 2,
Yeah.
you looked like you had the advantage because you had Ink, kind of on the edge of the map, right? And he was kind of hiding, and you were just digging. But what went through your mind when that first clam just sniped you, going through all that terrain and lands right on you, and then the second one lands right on you again?
I was not happy. In fact, I think when the second or third, because it hit me like 3 times in a row, or at least hit my minions on one of the times, and I was like, okay, surely the next one isn't gonna hit me, and I'm like, surely the next one. And I was kind of getting chipped away. I was a little frustrated because at the beginning of the game, I had the advantage. Ink side hid on the left, and I was like, he played DK the first game, and but what I was going to do is I was going to teleport in, and I was going to hit him with my shock shield and kind of have, because I was at like a 50 health advantage, and I was like, that's going to be a really good play, but if he has a DK and I don't have an answer, then I've kind of screwed myself because I don't have Arcane Gate. And I don't know if you noticed, Ink, but I didn't take Pebble on any of my games.
I noticed that, yeah.
So your towers were like, oh my god, I gotta chip them, I gotta chip them, I gotta chip them because I don't have a way to deal with them. And if you hide, I don't really have an efficient way to get to you other than flash. So you did a really good job on, just keeping me at bay. Kind of a struggle with this book, but I'm still trying to figure it out. But yeah, the clams, obnoxious. I could have positioned better probably. But I was just kind of thinking, they have enough randomness that surely in succession they're not going to hit me every single time. But it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, it can be tricky to navigate around the clams. I would say if you're flighted, you're safer, but even then, you can end up getting hit. One question I had is, I'm curious about what your guys' thoughts are on like the effectiveness of the Undead Pegasus. I noticed in each one of these matches, whoever got the Undead Pegasus seemed to win. And I was curious if that was something that you guys went into the match thinking, okay, I'm going to try to get an Undead Pegasus and gain an advantage that way, or if you thought that didn't really move the needle much for me.
Real quick, Ink. Were you timing the Armas? So you knew whenever the two...
Yeah, I was.
I knew it, and I'm like, I've got to do that better because I can do it at a point, but then I'm so focused in the game that I'm not doing it. And my minions were getting absolutely shredded because I wasn't taking into account the...
Yeah.
So to answer your question on the Undead Pegs, yeah, they're really good. But on this map, if you don't have a way to, because I use them to like position over my head, but those two armas when I don't know what you call it, I guess
The brine and the
salts,
clams.
yeah, the brine is coming down. Like it will absolutely, I don't know how much damage it does, but there's such a large surface area on the peg that it shreds them, and it's like not even worth to, I mean, I feel like it's a lot of trouble. So if you have a way to protect them, yeah, they're really good, but if they're out in the open, you've got 2 turns, unless they're like 125.
For the reason of the Arma and, you know, just how the brine sort of like makes controlling top annoying and such, I actually just like, you know, never brought Pegasus the entire tournament. I just don't think it's, you know, that great on most maps. I don't feel like it was like I feel like in the game too, especially though, like it was a bit different because Salem, I got when Salem was trapped, but I never thought of bringing Pegasus on my own. I probably still wouldn't change that aspect. I just, because the armor, I don't think it's as good on this map. But it is useful for recovery and such, but otherwise, like I don't like it as much.
Yeah, it makes sense. And even with the areas of the map that are like hiding spots, the little caverns, some of them don't even have room for a Pegasus. So
yeah,
maybe
exactly.
it's not so strong there to stall. But yeah, great match between you both. It was really close and competitive. I guess Union, you have any more questions, or we can ask the obvious one to Salem about his next matchup.
Yeah, no questions. But I guess I guess one last question to Salem. Like, how are you feeling? It looks like we're gonna be facing off, you know, very soon in the what is it, semifinals?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've learned a ton in this tournament. I mean, win or lose, I think I'm coming out a better player. I know this set is a little random at times, but I still think that there's a huge competitive aspect to it. And it's kind of taking into consideration the Arma and everything. I don't know, I'm just having a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to our game because I know it's going to be competitive. I know you like to run standard. Not saying that you will, but if you pull out a sanctuary, probably going to cry. So don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not a super fan of the setting for this tournament, but I have seen like some crazy books that actually work really, really well. And it, you know, it kind of it goes against the you know, the argument of like generic is king, but like in this map, there's other books that just come out on top. Like I've seen a gargoyle harmony book that can actually be really well, right? I've seen a gargoyle like dark defenses book that Furbo used that was really well. Cryo isn't really like a super generic player. He'll run flightless with, you know, snare, mac air, and whatever. I've seen gravity pulse with DMB do just insane damage. I've seen Ploop using lightning. I mean, the spell that people are bringing, the creativity that this map setting allows for, there's just so many different things that people can do. Obviously most people will just stay with what they know, what they're comfortable with, but that's not to say that, you know, someone can't just change it up. Like it's crazy the type of books that we're seeing and that we've seen so far in this map setting.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been playing Seer Comp, and Seer Comp runs like a Druidism mix that's really good. I've talked to Spork. Spork says on this map he'd probably run something with boars. I've not had a lot of success with boars. I don't think I've got them figured out, but I think that they're definitely worth trying to practice on. But yeah, definitely a lot of options.
Yeah, for sure. Union, are you feeling scared after witnessing the greatness that is Jgsalem?
Probably not scared, but definitely. I mean, I respect every single person that's made it this far, right? Some
sure.
people I've seen play, some people I haven't seen play, but to be able to make it this far, like, it goes to show, like, okay, like I have to take each person as serious as possible, right? Because you don't know what they'll throw at you. Like, it could even be as simple as like a book mix-up that could just overpower you, right? So I'm not scared, but I'm definitely, like. I'm prepared, right? Like I have to make sure like I'm playing well, that I'm not, just taking this lightly. Like Salem could easily 2-0 me, right?
Yep.
I mean, just looking at him in Ink, like I was like watching both of them, like, dang, like they're both actually really good players. Whoever goes through, I'm gonna end up facing. It's gonna be competitive, and so, I'm just excited. Like you said, like there's a lot to learn from these matches. There's a lot I was able to learn, both book building wise, but also like taking into like some ideas and gameplay moves, some opening and closers. There's just a lot that you can learn from other people. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if we don't have any other further questions, thank you, Ink and Jgsalem, for coming on to this interview. Really great to hear your thoughts, and yeah, best of luck, JG, against my fellow scrub commentator, Union Taper. Not just playing, but and yeah, good luck to you in the next match, and yeah, good game, Ink. Thanks for coming on.
For sure.
Yeah, really good gaming.
Yeah. Also, side note, shout out to Pierce, who's hosting for the first time.
For sure.
First time anybody else is a host besides
Great job,
me,
Pierce.
and he's
Yeah,
doing
really
a great
appreciate
job.
it, Pierce.
So yeah, I thought that was worth mentioning.
Thank you so much, guys. Getting the hang of things, but trying to make the broadcast as good as possible, and it's been a fun time behind the scenes. So we'll keep cleaning it up, and you guys have been doing a great job on the cast. So keep it up.
Well, you're a natural so far, so yeah, great job, Pierce. And yeah,
amazing
thanks
job.
again. Thanks again, Ink and JG.
Yeah.
We'll catch you on the flip side. Have a great one.
All right. See
On
ya.
that very note,
Here you go.
we have a little bit more time because we're waiting for Owa to get ready. Leo is ready in the wings. He's waiting for his opponent to get ready. Owa just needs 4 minutes. So, of course, we can kick that off by asking the obvious question, right? Cryo versus Owa. Now, we know that Cryo, a very versatile player, very skilled, at the moment considered to be the second most powerful active Arcanist player, just overall. I think that most people can agree to that. He's got high rankings in pretty much all the game modes that are being actively played. So, on the other hand, we've seen Owa level up leaps and bounds from his already elevated position, and has just been doing overall a really great job during this tournament, showing a lot of innovative gameplay, and really surprising us with just how prepared he's been for this tournament. We haven't been able to see too many of Cryo's games, but we do know that he was regretful for the way that his game against Gold turned out, despite the fact that he was the victor. And I'm definitely looking forward to exploring that a little bit later, probably with a little bit of gameplay review. Possibly tomorrow, maybe later tonight, we'll see, on my own channel. That being said, between these two players, who do you guys got? However, you take it first.
I'm gonna have to go with Cryo, and the reason is I think these players, they have similar play styles. They both can go for the absolutely risky, crazy plays. Great aim from Cryo, great aim from Owa. And the one thing I'm not so sure about is knowing when to take those risks, like that barometer. I know in Owa's mind can sometimes, he's just like, you know what, gotta go for it. And that could be true for Cryo as well. But it's just going to be a game of, is Owa's barometer for, oh, I need to go for this risky play right now, is that going to be accurate, or is Cryo's going to be accurate? And this is going to serve to be potentially a quick series. I would be surprised if, we get a flight versus flight generic matchup like we did with Ink and JG. I think the climate of this is going to be very, very different. Likely to see no flight out of Cryo, potentially a flight book, more control to combat Oa's rush playstyle. So it's looking like it'll be a good one, but I would venture to guess Cryo gonna edge this one out. What do you think, Union?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go in the other direction. I think something you said is really is gonna determine like how this may go, and it's, you know, if Oa can control that, you know, like that, how do you call it, like
The urge? Yeah.
the urge of going for something super risky and just having it completely fail. Like if he can, you know, just lock in, because I know when he's locked in and he's, you know, just in it, I mean,
Yeah, you're dead.
yeah, it's
Four
just a
turns.
free win for him, right?
Yeah, basically,
But
yeah.
when it gets to the point where he's either, you know, overthinking something or second guessing himself, or, you know, he's looking for that super risky play, like that can change the tide in an instant, right? And Cryo can take full advantage of that. But I think that this is a match where he's gonna be a tad bit more reserved, is what I'm guessing. I'm sure he'll still have risky plays, but just not as risky as I've seen him before. Which might give him that edge, right? Like if he's able to set himself up for a, you know, a huge ice bomb or what is it, a blood bomb or something along those lines. I think he's gonna take it. Now, it'll be interesting to see because these players obviously know each other. You know, and they're great at book building, and sometimes they like to counter each other. And so it's gonna be interesting to see if they play with what they know, or if they decide to, you know, make some tweaks to their books that might help them get the edge. Right? If you're saying like Cryo maybe he ends up bringing flight, like we haven't really seen that much from him, so that could be something that catches Owo off guard. Or if he stays with like his Mac Air flightless book. So it's going to be a great match. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's interesting that point that you mentioned about book building. I think that's huge, especially with these two players. So just to give some context, for example, in like their matches on 7G and 10 Grassy as well, basically going into those matches, Oa runs rush a lot. He's more rush-oriented player. So if you're going in there with just like a pretty generic book or maybe control, and you don't know exactly how to deal with his specific opener, you're just gonna fall over and die in 5 turns. But also, if you know about Oa's book, you can bring mushrooms to get extra healing. You can bring Fortress just to be absolute cheese memer, and it's really hard to take that tower down. You can really put a lot of effort into the counter booking aspect, so that could come into play here. How much? To what degree? Like, do we see Cryo somehow run into Oa's rush book with like Bank, Fortress, Drain, and all these different healing spells to counteract Oa's rush? I'm not so sure it's going to be that extreme, but you could definitely see book building coming into play here. Definitely more so than in a game like Ink versus Salem, which was just generic all day, every day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that could either make you win the game or it could hurt you, right? Like if Oa is using the rush and like the idea of playing rush and Crowd decides to counter it, I mean, maybe it's big brain that Oa decides to say, you know what, I'm actually gonna not bring a full rush book. I'm gonna change it up a little bit, like he did with 1v. And that could ultimately hurt Cryo. And so, I honestly think at the end of the day they might just stick to their guns. I know that Cryo has a few books that he likes to use. You know, he'll alternate in between. I know Oa has the same kind of set of books that he'll use, like Super Rush, kind of like a mid rush, and like more controlled and have a good balance. I don't know if we'll see a full counter. It'd be very interesting and would make a hell of a gameplay. I think they might stick to their guns a little bit, but it's gonna be so great. Like I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. At the end of the day, say you're running absolutely insane, rush. You have to accept to a degree that you can be counterbooked, and your book is very greedy, and so you just have to accept that that's a fact. There are some matchups that you literally just can't win unless the skill gap between you and your opponent is so great. What's up? Oh, yeah. I was just saying that it'll be interesting to see if they end up going for a full rush or full control. And honestly, if I'm in this position, I would go for just what I'm comfortable with. And so, yeah, good insight, Union, there.
Well, that is definitely something that we're going to get to see in mere moments away. It looks like both competitors are ready. We'll be heading into the game any second now. So we're going to switch back over to spectator mode and get our gears ready to go.
Oh, let's go. Oa versus Cryo. Oa
versus
turn 1.
Cryo.
Quick note, Pierce. Looks like the spelling of cryo is misspelled. If you want to quickly fix that.
Thank you for that. Take care of it.
Meteor, what do we think of this? This suggests to me potentially a rush book. But oh my gosh, OA has him in a great position. It's hard to even BFTP out of this and escape. He has to be very careful with how he's proceeding here.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
this is really interesting to me.
Meteor Prot, what do you make of that, Union?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't seen this book, or maybe he's played it and we just haven't caught it. But that's an interesting book from Cryo. Having a level 3 meteor obviously can help destroy terrain and dig. You just cause havoc with clams combined.
Yeah.
But what really shocks me is seeing Ova with shock shield. I don't think I've seen that from him. Usually he'll run shock bomb by itself, but the fact that he's bringing it out here, it looks like they probably were thinking of doing some slight countering, which is what we're seeing here. But man, this is gonna be great.
This is so awesome. I mean, I will say Oa loves shock bomb, so in that respect, it's not too surprising that he would bring shock shield. Potentially, knowing Cryo does like flightless books with Swarm, with Blood Bank, shock shield is great to deal with those threats. And so maybe he's thinking of bringing shock shield from that perspective.
Yeah,
but we know he's going to be aggro. What is he going to do here? Okay, nice BFDP.
Yep, there he goes.
the extend shock bomb. It's going to hit him a little bit. No, it's not. For the viewers, if you didn't notice that, there's a little bit of a terrain. Probably, I don't even know how many pixels that is, but a handful of pixels. I don't know. And you can actually extend a spell through it. Hold Alt to extend that, and basically the spell is thrown outside of your character. And so, okay, he's able to just go full on rush, mushrooms.
Wow.
Flash out of the mud ball, super aggro. He's got his shock shield up for a couple more turns. Good lord.
Yeah, he's playing it really well. The other thing too with that shock bomb, not only knowing that he can alt extend it, right? But also he was trying to knock Cryo back into his shock shield. So it didn't work, but just the awareness of it, I mean, he's locked in.
Did I happen to mention a certain tower that Cryo may bring to potentially counter? No, but here he pulls out the fortress. Obviously, he has it because he has Meteor. Oh boy, what?
Wow.
I've never seen that Mega just stick to the top of a fortress ever. What is going on there?
That is not only insanely risky, but that also takes a lot of skill to be able to pull that off.
Holy, wow. I wonder how much skill versus luck there. That seemed pretty skillful, the way to set it up. And then if you just slightly have the power messed up on that, slightly lower or too high, it's going to bounce out and just hit Oa for 100 plus. And oh, he can just easily... Wait. Oh, he hits... He damages himself, but Cryo's so low now, and he killed the Swarm. Maybe this is not bad? Does he have certain spells to close? I'm thinking of a couple, which I won't mention in this moment. In response to a trap, This is getting super spicy.
Yeah, I'm like afraid to say anything just in case they're listening, you know.
Right.
But,
Right. 3, 2, 1. What is he going for? The 138 meteor?
oh,
Oh, 45. Doesn't quite
not
get it.
enough.
He was going for the sink there too, which is very possible to go for a sink in those situations. Now
Yeah, he
Oa
should
just has
get
to make sure.
end it here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
make
blast
sure.
from the past drain would do the job.
Yeah, which he probably doesn't have because he's got a rush book. But
Oh, you're
goes
right.
for the. Of course, he lobs the pebble and gets it. Wow, what a crazy match.
That was. I mean, that was what, less than 10
was-
turns, but
that was sick.
that was amazing to watch.
That was absolutely sick.
So much that happened there. He put the pressure on that shock bomb off the bat. You know, just going up on the HP advantage while having the thought
man.
shields. I mean, you're putting Cryo in such a bad position, and there's not much he can really do. You know, it's not like with generic you might have the chance to, regain with your health. You fly away and teleport out and set up with like a minion or something. But with his book, it was a little hard to do that. And O's just kept, putting the pressure and wouldn't let his foot off the gas pedal. And man, that was awesome. I was curious I was gonna say, so usually something that Oa runs is like Whisper Bomb, Whisper Arrow. I know sometimes he'll take those out, but for the most part he'll usually have it. He didn't show it. Now I don't know if that means he just doesn't have it, or he does have it and he was just hiding it because he found alternative ways to win.
I bet he has it. Yeah,
But
he has it for sure. I mean, yeah, for
Well, it's
those
interesting
exact
because
situations.
he chose to flash out rather than using it when Cryo mudballed. So I'm not 100% sure. But man, yeah, he just clobbered on Cryo that first game. Cryo just couldn't do much. Which makes me now question, like, is Cryo now gonna switch up his book? Right, so they just started. We'll jump
We're in. Let's go. Let's
and
see
he did.
this.
So now you can see he doesn't have Meteor anymore. He's probably playing. If I know Cryo, he's probably playing a flightless Mac Air, Snare and Bank Book. Usually what he runs, with a few spell changes. So something he's more comfortable with. Obviously, you're down by 1 in the series. Looks like first game he had the ability to experiment, see how it goes, and now his back's against the wall. He's like, no, I'm just gonna play with what I know.
This is a great blood bank spawn.
And here we go again. With the
Oh,
lobs.
he
Oh,
doesn't
man.
care. That was nice.
What
Great
a
lob
shot.
there. Doesn't even care about the bank. But I will say, it's more of a threat than you might think.
Oh, when the
And
Cryo
goes for.
lob.
Oh, and he misses it. Oh man. Oh,
You have to ask yourself here: is Cryo, like, at this point?
They
Have you
traded it.
given up, or? I mean, at this point, like, Oa can, shock bomb, suicide, sink him.
even, yeah.
Like, there's so much that he can do with this. Yeah, there he goes.
Will it though? I don't know if with alt extend if it's gonna actually sink him.
It does.
it will?
Does.
Okay, yeah, nice. And
Yes, I mean, he has bank out. And now, here's the thing: in the first game, the terrain was pretty open, right? So the Meteor Book didn't do as well as it could have. And it allowed Oa, like, it favored Oa more because he had more of, like, those rush spells that could just, as long as he's in open space, that's it. This map is a little different because there's a lot more terrain, there's a lot more places to hide. It kind of gives Cryo a bit of chance to breathe and separate himself and try to regain here. And so we'll see what he does. If Oa has Pebbles, it's going to be a huge problem for Cryo, which he might have. He had it last game, so we'll see what happens.
it's very tricky to deal with this rush in this situation. Because he does have pebbles, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Cryo obviously he has a minion advantage now. He can try to leverage that.
Interesting. So he decides to go for the chip damage with the aura. He could have potentially used that to block off the entrance. Maybe he's looking to mudball, but I would be careful because there is something Oa can do to free himself from the mudball. And he's running out of time. He's got 3 seconds. He might just choose the tower.
Okay, so he stalls for a turn. He was thinking about a ladder, but it's 30s, and that's tricky to do.
Yeah, one slight misposition and he just drops to the bottom. Honestly, a good teleport by Oa, knowing that Cryo doesn't have a teleport out. But
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking he might. There's a spacing there between that tree. Does he deflight and go for a shock bomb? But it looks like
I
he
see.
decides he's like, no, I'm just gonna
I
put
see.
pressure.
I didn't see that angle. That would have been sick.
Yeah.
Okay, he has Sanctuary, which is nice. That'll help Cryo out a bit. In these situations, what could end up happening is, obviously when you use Gate, now Oa's Gate is on cooldown. And so it's a little bit of cat and mouse. You gate, I gate. You gate, I gate. And we could see that from Cryo, but...
Yeah, but the thing
instead-
is, Cryo has the gate advantage in this situation because Oa didn't use the gate right away. So he waited, I think, what was it, maybe 1 or 2 turns. So Cryo has at least 1 turn where he can gate away and not be met with another gate. Right? He has like 1 more turn.
Yeah, which might be something to consider here, as he's at such a health deficit and doesn't really have time to ladder or micro his minions. He's obviously got the bank out too, so he can benefit from big damage on Oa, get some healing.
Yeah, he can, but yeah, I was gonna say he's only 69 HP, right? Like he could maybe go for a mud ball or something to gain a little bit of HP, but it wouldn't be much. And so Oa, just knowing him, he has spells that could, do minimum 100 damage. So great teleport away by Cryo. He's got another turn here to set himself up. I'd assume OA is probably gonna try to push again.
Yeah, I was thinking more in the future. He would be able to heal. If he goes for it immediately, you actually don't heal off of tower damage. So it wouldn't be that helpful for Cryo, and he would just lose. So like if you try to attack the Prot and the tower, he wouldn't gain any health from that.
Right.
This makes me think potentially he has Drain and a Blood Bank. So changed up his book to counter OA a little bit with the rush, which it has a little bit of a negative connotation. He's basically playing to win, but it's not an egregious counter. He's doing what he has to do to deal with the greed of Oa's absolutely, massive offensive rush heavy book.
Yeah, I will say I don't know if Cryo I don't know his true intentions, right? But you saw one of those boars sunk with the drain. I was thinking that maybe he would set it up where they don't sink, right? Because you could utilize that for another drain opportunity or, dig or anything along those lines. But wait a second,
no!
The clam!
Oh wow! This just turned completely with just 1 bank and then 2 boars, and he was able to heal back up.
That's insane. I would have thought Oa would teleport inside with Cryo and continue his push, but he decides to take the top. But that's a great Whisper arrow.
That was sick.
But he decides to go on the top, right? He has protection shield. He was probably looking to pebble down with flight. But Cryo kind of with this book, I knew some books he runs aerials, so he brought aerials.
I see a win here with an aerial that we know he has, but I'm not sure if Cryo's confident in it.
It looks like he might go for it. He's blocking self for the next arrow he has.
Yeah, he didn't quite aim that quite right, but there is a way. It's also kind of tricky with the positioning that he had there. A way to do 50 damage with Rain of Fire. So yeah, he definitely saw it.
Oh, he's not able to get through.
Oh no.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. What do you do in this situation? I mean, he goes for the mega risk.
You resign. This is what Oa has to do because he's literally full rush. Balls to the wall rush, and
oh man,
he's got no sustain. So that's the game. Wow.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe he might have had a tower. It could have been on cooldown, but if he had tower, he could have used that and try to buy himself another turn and get closer. But So unfortunate. I mean, he had a great blast from the past, but it just wasn't enough to remove that tiny bit of pixel that was trapping him. I'd assume that he was probably going for either the win or just a suicide draw. He couldn't get through, and he tries to pull the Hail Mary with the mega shot, and didn't go his way. But
And that was
I
ridiculous
like the
too.
attempt.
That was crazy, how Cryo was able to come back in that situation, just with some cooldown
Yeah.
management around his gates and
Yeah,
bringing
and
in a lot of heals.
And it goes back to like map generation, right? Because like I said, in that game, there was a lot of terrain, a lot of places to hide, which favors more Cryo, right? Because he's able to maneuver, he's able to buy time. He has the bank. He could just stall a little bit. But in the first match, you saw it was very, very open, and Oa just utilized that by just chucking away at his HP right away. So it's going to be interesting to see what the matchup will be for game number 3. And do they stick with their books, or do they make some slight changes? Right. So we saw Cryo just. I mean, he got a bit of lucky there with the map generation, but just completely demolished Oa's rush. Do you see more of a balanced book now from Oa, or will he say, you know what, I'm gonna put all my marbles in this bag. I'm gonna go for rush again.
I think. Oh man, that's such a hard question. He might switch up a couple of spells, but I think he'll still go full on rush, and just say, you know what, I gotta trust what I'm great at, and just go from there. Yeah, because realistically, it was very close, right? Either player could have won that game. It felt like.
Oh, it looks like they have started. Oh no.
Yeah, just about.
Oh yeah, they do. Okay, I found it.
All right,
So let's see. We have no level 3s.
Okay. Oa turn 1, I will say turn 1 advantage is huge, especially with rush books.
Yeah, because you're able to summon the bank first. And with this map generation, it's a bit of a mix. It's not as many not as many places to hide like it was last game. It's kind of like a 50-50, right? Like a little bit of hiding, but also open on the top. And so they both utilize that to their advantage because they summon a bank in a place where it's hard to reach. And so now they can start making their moves of, let me just do a lot of damage. So
Which
he
we're
might go
about
for
to
Shock
see.
Bomb here.
Yeah, we're about to see that. Oh, nice.
Oh, so
I
close.
don't know if this will knock.
I don't think so. It was more on the left side of his character, but
Yeah.
crazy attempt. I mean, I know that he could hit those. Unfortunate little bounce there, but if he had gotten that sync, oh man.
Yeah, positioning is going to be key here. Does Cryo go for a more trapping-oriented move, or just respond directly with damage? Yeah, I think trapping is best, especially with the bank out. And we'll probably see.
Oh,
Yep,
now we
go
see
for
the
it.
Whisper Bomb.
There it is.
So he's just going for full-on damage. He doesn't care that he's trapped. He has the bank, which will gain some HP. Now, I'm curious to see like what Cryo decides to do. Does he stay here, right? And just he does because he towers. Or I was thinking maybe he would try to, maneuver to the other side of the map.
Yeah, it's tricky because if he gates, then Oa can respond with his own gate, and he doesn't have minions out to really ladder, and he's probably flightless.
Oh, Gargoyle.
Okay, nice, Gargoyle, I like it.
This is a really great book, but you do have to be
See
careful
it.
because against Rush, I mean, you have to be able to buy yourself some time, right?
Yeah, this puts Oa in a difficult position, though, because Garg is so strong.
It is. Oh my god.
The stick! The Jingle Boom stick?
That's insane. That's
I haven't seen a
absolutely
stick.
insane.
I haven't seen a stick with Jingle Boom like that before. You can do that. It's called a ceiling stick, or at least I call it that, where you can just stick bombs to players' feet. But it has to be, like, the bomb has to be at its apex when you're meeting the gargoyle's feet, or whatever you want to call it, the bottom of the gargoyle. and then it just sticks, like sticky glue.
Yeah, that was insane.
That was ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, great
But-
play.
Before that, I wanted to touch on like the previous moves that they made, where Crowd decided to go for a more trapping play style, and a great mega. Wow.
Great mega.
Yeah, he's just looking to end it right now. He doesn't care if he gets, if he's in the water or if he's trapped. He's just gonna keep on chipping away at your HP. But I don't know if this could have played any differently because Crow went for the original mud ball. I thought that he was gonna play it aggressive and just pebble him, right? He would have the tower advantage. He could trap him on the next turn and he wouldn't be able to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look!
Oh, I don't know if this works.
No. Yeah, I don't know if that's enough. Oh, it does.
Oh, nice. Wow.
That
Barely.
was a close one.
Oh my gosh, that gave me anxiety.
Yeah, he buys himself a little bit of time here. Knowing Oa, he's probably wants to stay within the vicinity of the left side of the map. I don't see a reason.
Flashed here, yeah.
Yeah, definitely put yourself in a position where you can't be, sunk, but don't be so far away, right?
Okay, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, it's a good teleport. He knows Cryo doesn't have a way to get up. He's flightless. So he has top advantage. He's not gonna get hurt by the Arma because there's still 3 more turns to go. So great teleport there.
Map gen doesn't really favor Cryo that much here. Not a lot of terrain in between him and these caverns. So... Oh! Nice.
What
Okay.
a great barrage.
Bones is awesome.
The question is here, can he blast from the past out? Nope.
Oh, so close.
Yeah,
So close.
that's... Not only was that really risky because they bounced so much, but he was able to pull it off. Gets the trap.
Oh, getting super
man.
lethal with the Whisper. Wow, this rush is just oppressive.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he's going to be able to turn this around. Because next turn, O is free with another blast from the past.
Especially if he has another tower, and he's got the bank for the sustain. And I didn't point this out, but you notice where they summon their banks? You could take that away twice with an aura, but you're just putting that bank in a place where it can't be easily killed. And okay, of course, O is gonna go aggro here.
So you have to be a little careful here.
Why wouldn't you?
He might go for a mega. I don't know if I think he still has the second one.
Make it very tricky on a sanctuary, but possible here to win outright. He does go for it.
Oh, but it doesn't work.
Oh
man. Yeah, I mean, you would have had to place it probably more to the right so that it doesn't bounce off that way, or more like upward. But I was gonna say, like, if he chooses to try to pebble or anything in that for that matter, I mean, he's putting himself in a risk to be sunk again, right? So this kind of, I don't want to say it gives Cryo a full advantage, but it definitely puts him in a better position because if he can do a lot of damage while sinking him, he's also going to take damage from not. Wait a second, what just happened?
I'm not sure exactly what's going on there.
What? I'm speechless. What just happened there?
Cryo doesn't even want that match to play out in the way it has, so he just queued for Oa because he believes that perhaps to gain an advantage back in this way with the failed mega from Oa would be disingenuous. I don't know, that's my theory. But we can obviously ask Cryo about that if he does an interview.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if maybe that was just a full-on mistake with choosing Mega, or if he was trying to somehow Mega suicide or place it where he can do a lot of damage while sinking and not hurting himself. I'm not sure what happened there, but I mean, if something as small as just, drain sinking or arcane bomb sinking, like, he would have already taken damage from not having gate. So it would have put him in a really good spot. But I'm not sure what just happened. I mean, GG's. Insane series, first of all. Congratulations to Ola for moving on. I'm still in a bit of shock. Don't really know what to say there.
Yeah, I have quite a bit of experience playing Cryo, so not so shocked in this instance. His motivations sometimes will go way up and fluctuate a lot, or go way down. And also, if he feels like someone potentially deserved the win more than he did, then I think this was an intentional move just to kind of cue Omega and quote-unquote give the win, just because he was so down. So we've seen this before from Cryo, and we'll see if he's able to do an interview if he wants, which is fine. It's completely optional. But yeah, so I have been in the situation against Cryo where he essentially threw in a tournament. So I have a little bit of context there to understand, oh, I've seen this before, you know, but it'll be interesting to get his opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand it to a certain degree, because I've done that. I mean, I did that against Furbo when I had the win, and I just kind of threw that match because I missed the shot. But in his situation, he was still in a great position, right? Because again, he could have done a ton of damage, get the sync off, and not only would Oa have taken the damage from whatever it was that Cryo could have thrown at him, but also taken damage from not having gate, right? So he was in a really great position to turn it around. So I'm not sure why he decided to, throw the match or just kind of end it there. Like, he still could have turned it around. I don't know.
It's tricky.
There.
It's tricky if we do some math. So he's at what, like 166, I think, if I remember it right. He's drained off. He's 126. He teleports in at 2/3 of that. What's 2/3?
But let's say, okay, so he has Mega, right? Now, at least one Mega pop will probably detower him, but it doesn't bounce much if you don't put too much power in it. So he could have just done a light powered lob, done a ton of damage, knock him. He would have been detowered, but at that point, your HP is pretty much even.
Yeah,
I mean,
true. One thing, a line I'm thinking too of, Pebble Sync. Was that possible? Like if he just goes inside the sanctuary on the right and tries to go for a Pebble Sync. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. And Alpha stated he would have healed from his own bank as well. Oh
Yeah.
man. Hey Cryo, man, how are you doing?
Pretty good, man. I'm chilling.
First of all, I gotta say that was an insane series from both you guys.
Yeah, very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean it was short, but the amount of action that happened in just a few amount of turns was crazy. But I have to ask, what happened there at the end? It looked like you had the potential to turn things around, cause a lot of damage. Sync Oa, he already had used gate.
He threw, man. I wasn't taking that win. He was throwing so that I could win. It was obvious. Like if he pepped me, I just lost, and he knew that. So I wasn't gonna take that win.
But weren't you at 20 HP? So even if he pebbled you, you would have had 10 HP, and you still could have gone for the sync.
He could have just flown round to the back of me and pepped me. I wouldn't be able to sync him, and I wouldn't have any follow up to get distance.
I see.
It just felt like a situation where I knew I couldn't stabilize out of that, and he went for the Mega, as an obvious, like a 20% chance I'll win, 80% chance I'll lose move.
Right.
I'm sure he knew that Mega was not the right move, but he went for it anyway because I expect he wanted me to advance, not him. But it just didn't feel right taking that win.
I see. I mean, very honorable of you. It's good to get your insight there. I mean, everyone else, I guess, doesn't know much about what could have happened. We're just sitting here what just happened, right? Speechless, mind blown. But it's good that you were able to provide some insight on that. I'm not sure if O was gonna be here. It looked like he said he was gonna come. But since we have you, Cryo, I was gonna ask, what was your game plan kind of going into this series, right? Like that first game, we saw you come out with a Meteor mix, which I don't think we've seen from you too much during this tournament. Were you looking to counter some way? Like what was your thought process?
I thought it would be pretty okay. I mean, obviously I know Blast, which I knew when I was making the book would probably be a problem, but the fact that he had Shock Shield made that problem way more relevant than I was hoping for it to be. But I just thought, Fortress is, nice stopper on aggression, and Meteor's good at getting the turnaround, especially on aggressive books as well, that can't necessarily restabilize off of a big Meteor. So it just made sense to me.
Yeah, I thought I thought it could have been a great book too, but it was, I think what hurt you was the map gen in that first game, right?
Hello?
Because it was.
Can you guys hear me?
I did a bad gate as well.
Yeah.
Like I saw it. I saw exactly what he was doing come in. I should have just gated slightly further to the left so that he couldn't knock me into the hole.
I see. Yeah. Hey, OA, welcome. Congratulations.
Yeah,
GG's.
it was. I don't know if this has been said already, but this was a very, very lucky win. Like the first game was perfect map gen for Rush, and I got first move and I got the flash. So like that, all those things combined made it very hard to stabilize. You don't have a single teleport spot, and I get to flash you off first. I don't know if he took BFTP in the first game. I feel like he would have just
I didn't.
Yeah, that's tough.
So I got shit.
Yeah, that was maximum punish. That's just unlucky. Like if you go first, that literally makes all the difference there because you have Fortress to stabilize. The only reason why, because I put you in, I pressured you on every turn because I was able to get the first move. If I wasn't,
I think that swarm play you did was actually like a misplay on your behalf, I think. But it obviously didn't matter in the scheme of things. But it's like if you just stayed on my head. I mean, I guess you didn't know I didn't have BFTP, though. I feel like you should have been able to tell when I didn't BFTP you. But if you just stayed on my head, I just lost right there.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I think you're right. I was once you didn't BFTP me off, I thought there was a chance. I don't know. I was playing around. I was trying to play around, not just getting maximum punished. By you having BFTP and just sandbagging it. I didn't quite know what you were bringing, but I think you're right. I should have just assumed.
Yeah, I get it. Like you took Shock Shield and you took Swarm. Like you were ready for a slightly more, like, I guess, drawn out real game. So
yeah.
Straight onto that. Yeah.
And that second game, I think it was, or was it the third game? The Jingle Boom stick onto the gargoyle. That was also pretty lucky.
Ooh, that was nice.
Well, that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough. So those Jingle Boom is a little bit. I don't know when I say stickier, it just means that the bomb is more round than other bombs. So it doesn't. If it comes in at an angle, it'll bounce like unpredictably, but smooth to smooth. I don't know. It's easier for the speed to slow down. Once the speed hits a certain point, it sticks. So that bomb's a little bit whack in terms of like. It's easier to stick those than other bombs, but still, it was those types of plays get me stressed out because it's like the only play I have really is to do that because otherwise I have to take a turn off and kill the gargoyle, and then you could just mud ball me. Like every turn closer to the Armageddon we get feels like I'm losing. But yeah, no, I think that first game was kind of made the difference, and it was just incredibly lucky. Map gen plus me going first was just everything lined up perfectly. That last one, I don't think I could have killed you with pebbles. I think you would have lived at 10, right? But at the same time,
it was still over. Like I had nowhere to run to.
All I had to do was
could have
tower.
pebbled it in a way that I couldn't sink you. I think if you went round to the right of me.
Yeah, I could have pebbled you. I could have towered. I could have done anything. You didn't have any drain food up. The only thing you could do is tree. So I could have just. And you didn't have flight, so I could have just flown over to the bubbles, towered on top, and
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt like you've had a better tournament performance than I've had, and people want to see dynamic games in the finals. They don't just want they just don't want to see like rush. But I appreciate it. I think that the whatever game whenever we play, it's really just a slugfest, and I think that you probably could have taken like the book that 1v did, where it's like I'm really forced to play outside my comfort zone, but I'm not sure if that's your comfort zone either. Just playing like a harmonized 2-hour-long stall book, but
I could have done it. First of all, I thought you were going to switch your box around, so I didn't really want to do that anyway. And I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel like a good way to play hard carrying like that. I was like, I'd rather take a book that can, beat a variety of strategies that can, stand against your book, and possibly, if you change books, still stand against that as well.
yeah, I respect that a lot. That second game there, you with your blood bank health and your HP, you were at 128. Probably shouldn't have gone for that. The Mega Boulder had to bounce onto you and hit max. I don't even think it could have hit max where you were at.
It would have been cool. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It was a crazy line.
Question though for Oa on that second game, I was expect. I mean, you had the HP advantage, you had a prot shield, but you decided to teleport at the top of the map. And I don't know if you've forgotten about the Armageddon with the brine, or like, I would assume your idea was probably like to try to pebble down, but I thought that you could have also teleported into him and continued like that push and aggressiveness. I guess what was your like thinking of why did you decide against teleporting there and going to the top?
So, the reason why I teleported there is because I felt like, since he doesn't have flight, going to the top of the map and pebbling down, I felt was like a better way to get to him without opening myself up to like a mud ball or like just a minion trap or a tree. And I didn't want to. I felt like it was a safer play to take, and I think that was just plain wrong. I didn't count the Armageddon correctly, so I immediately put me below 50 prot, which I thought, okay, well, I made a mistake there. But also, when he treed me the first time I teleported, that was also wrong to teleport there. Like, he trapped me with the tree. I don't know if you guys saw, but like I couldn't move left or right. But so I was thinking, I could teleport down there and we could continue this. There was a point there when I teleported down and I pebbled him and he went to 63 HP. And when he mudballed me, he was at 63 HP. And because I pebbled his sink, and like 2 or 3 of the pebbles missed, and my heart sunk, because the whole reason I went down there is to get into that spot where I'm going to pebble him out of his tower, and then he's going to mudball me because he's 1 turn off of gate. Because I brought Whisper, which I didn't have Whisper in the first one. So I brought Whisper to try and pebble him out, get him below 60, to where when he mudballs me, I could just kill him, but I would have put him at 3, which might have honestly been the correct play to do anyway, but I didn't end up doing that. But yeah, when I went to the right side, I should have gone in. I think he already drained the boars, right? So like, that was already done. So yeah, I should have gone in. That would have been the correct play, and I realized that in my head. I was like, oh no, he's stabilizing, but yep. I mean, he's a really good player. So, like, to me, if I give him any kind of opening to stabilize, he's going to take it. So I should have done that. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, what was your thought process behind the adjustment for game 2? Cryo, obviously you know that Oa is running a rush book, but it's a very unique combination of, like, a lot of healing with Bower's Drain and Blood Bank, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was a book I'd already used earlier on in the tournament. The only difference is that I swapped out. Let me remember. I think I swapped out Snare for like. I think I swapped out for Draining Tree. Which, funnily enough, I didn't actually run in that book before. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, it's
wild.
wild.
I don't know.
You only need 1 turn, really, to turn the tide of a game. Like 1 missed shot from Oa or 1 made shot from Oa gives you 1 turn to stabilize.
He did amazing at stabilizing in that second game, because I don't know really of almost any player that's going to stabilize when they're down that deficit. When I shock bombed him off and I did the suicide shock bomb, and he was down 170 to 90, and he's got to teleport somewhere. Like, that's such an insane deficit to fight back through from Rush.
I had the map to do it, I didn't know.
You did, but like, I think
I hate
that
it,
when people play against Rush, there's a bit of a mental aspect of it too. Like, you feel pressured to really make the right decisions, because if you miss, you gotta get in the hot seat, whereas Rush is normally in the hot seat. Like, once the pressure's been applied, it's really easy to mess up. So hats off, because you kept your cool, and that's not easy to do in a situation like that.
Yeah, thanks, man. I think in
Yeah.
hindsight, I should have just counterbooked you, but it's what it is.
Well, we
I had
talked.
a few different books, and I don't know if I'm gonna unveil them, but I had a few different books. Because after our game one, if you showed something similar to 1V's book, because my normal book I think has a 0% chance to beat 1V's book, and 1V did a good job at, coming up with it. So I have a couple of different options to be able to take a longer route through the game. But yeah, I think that you probably would have won overall if you did that.
Well, it was for sure a great series either way. Before I let you guys go, I actually have a couple. Cryo, you've long been one of my favorite players. It was really an honor to watch you. And now to see you fall is a little bit bittersweet, because I have also grown into an OA, but I'm always pulling for your victim. Now that you have fallen out of the tournament and you see what's happening in the remainder of the bracket, who do you favor to win the entire thing?
You know what? I think OA can win it, but he needs to, like, claim it for himself rather than always thinking, I'm a Russia, so I shouldn't deserve this win type of mentality. You know what I mean? Like that Mega Border, what you did there, and even to like the Mega Border that you tried to ricochet off. Like, you go for those plays because I think some part of you is like thinking that you deserve to throw the game because you only got it from like map gen or rushing or whatever. Does that make sense? But I think if you sort of squish that out, if you're playing, you've got what it takes.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'll definitely take this match to heart and kind of just take every single turn seriously and not go for those. Because I think you said it earlier in one of our DMs, that every game counts in a series like this, and for a player like me, it's kind of tough because I'm so used to playing like 5-minute games where if I make a mistake, I just queue up and immediately get into another game.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate that.
I definitely can agree that you really should respect yourself as a player, Oa. I think that you're a phenomenal player. You've proven that time and time again by getting this far in the tournament, by overcoming many, many powerful opponents up to this point. And if it helps you, just consider that it's a sign of respect to all of your competitors when you acknowledge that you beat them by skill and not by luck. It's almost insulting to the rest of the players to say, haha, you're just unlucky, right? Like, imagine if somebody said that to you, like, after they outplayed you, right? Like, I understand that there's a degree of humbleness and humility there, but there's also a degree of honor by saying, you played a great game and I also played a great game, and we can all acknowledge that as elite competitors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I definitely would like to see you take that mentality moving forward, because you still have a really important match ahead of you. But even after this tournament is concluded, your peers respect you, I respect you, and you should respect yourself.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, for sure.
That being said, I have the same question for you. Who do you think is going to win the tournament?
So, I was actually I was kind of sad I was out. I wanted to see the Jgsalem versus Inc. match, because Salem is someone who I've played against before. He always struck me as a super methodical player, very, very calculated. And seeing him kind of, I think he won, right? So like, and Inc. is not a slouch. He's a very strong player. So I definitely want to see how that shaped up. But I'm gonna still be rooting for myself here. I think that mechanically, when it comes to just actual like clutch plays and making plays on the fly, I think I'm one of the strongest players in the game at doing that. When it comes to like just slow and making slow movements every turn to get to a win, like having the vision of like a turn 40 win, I'm very bad at that. But I think this is a tournament setting where it kind of helps me to be able to come up with like improvised plays and come up with plays on the fly because the Armageddon can really shake things up. So I think that I'm still going to be rooting for me, and I think that I still have the highest likelihood to win. But you know, I think Union's an incredibly strong player. I think I'm very interested to see what happened with Salem because I haven't seen any of his games up to this point. And I think it's, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes any other way, but I'm still pulling for me.
Totally respect that. Fellow broadcast team casters, Coeval, Union, do you guys have any further questions for our guests?
No, I think that wraps it up. Union, if you're all done with your questions, we don't want to keep you guys too long. We appreciate you guys coming down and being willing to participate in this interview. Like we've all said, really insane match back and forth. And yeah, great game. Cryo, and best of luck, OA, in the next round. Looking forward to seeing you face off versus Salem or Union.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And like I've said, I think in every interview, I really appreciate the broadcast team. You guys are doing great work. This is awesome. Being able to, it's very entertaining to be able to just kick back and watch. It's almost like I'm watching an esport, So I think you guys are doing a great job.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yes.
That is exactly what it is, my friend.
Yes, I know. But I think it just speaks a lot to the potential of Arcanus because you guys are very gripping. I think you guys are all skilled, all of you. Union, Coeval, Inc., Wise Old Man, and Pierce. I think you guys are all very skilled at that broadcasting, shoutcasting, and getting people entertained. And that's awesome. I just love to see it. So I'm appreciative of, the interviews and just the questions and just taking the time to hear my side of things.
Well, we thank you both very much for joining us today. Cryo, I know that this was a little bit of a rough break for you, but thank you so much for playing. I still think you did a phenomenal job this tournament, and I am very much looking forward to spectating your future games in and out of the tournament. Oa, once again, congratulations on advancing into the finals. We'll have very soon for everybody at home the final semifinals match, or rather the remaining semifinals match. And then after that, the finals as well. As soon as we know when those matches are going to be broadcast, we will update everyone. Please make sure to join the Arcanus Discord so that you can follow those updates.
Yeah, right on, man.
Yeah.
All right,
GGs.
thank you. GG's.
See you guys.
GG's.
Bye-bye.
With that said, we're going to sign off here soon. Union, any closing remarks coming from you?
It's incredible gameplay and very skillful too. There's a lot of little things that happened that someone just can't pull off overnight, right? Like that takes a lot of practice and understanding, the speed of a projectile or a bomb, or how it sticks and how all those little things, like understanding that, just a lot of skill in that. And they showcased it here. It was fantastic. I learned a lot myself. And yeah, I'm excited to play Salem soon, and then hopefully I have the chance to go up against OA. And again, I always learn something from every time I watch a series, and so I hope you guys learn too. Thank you, Coeval, Wise Old Man. I know he had to leave it a little early, but thank you to him, and thank you to Pierce.
Well, thank you as well, Union. Coeval, anything to add to that?
I would just say, yeah, it was a really enjoyable 2 series. We got the best of both worlds with a more, defensive, kind of methodical, like Oa said, the turn 40 mindset very kind of long-term thinking and stalling to win, versus this recent series, which was just all up in your face with all the offense. So yeah, a lot of great gameplay for people who like any style pretty much. So that was great to see. And yeah, thanks to everyone who is stopping by to watch the stream, and to my fellow commentators. And that's all.
Yes, I definitely agree. We did get some really diverse gameplay, the best of all worlds, and really showing off just how much Arcanus has to offer. But if you think about it, really only the tip of the iceberg, because there is so much more that the game does have to offer inside and outside of tournament formats. That being said, I thank you both as well for joining us here on the broadcast today. Guys, make sure you check out the bracket. Although there's not too much left to it, we're really winding things down. We do have, coming soon, once again, this will be announced as soon as we know, the final matchup between Union here and Jgsalem that we saw earlier, the other side of the semifinals match. The winner of that will go on to face Oa in the finals of the tournament. And of course, the loser of that will still face off against Cryo in the third place match. So we haven't seen the last of him. All right, but that being said, we're going to wrap it up here for today. You can check out the bracket. I just linked it in the chat, as well as our broadcast team. I believe that's going to be found here. You can follow today's commentators. Wise Old Man had to dip out early, but you can go ahead and check him out, as well as Coeval on YouTube, with many different guides and strategies to help elevate your gameplay, and of course Union here if you want to see some other high-level stuff. If you're interested, you can follow me as well tomorrow on my channel, most likely tomorrow. Don't hold me to this, but I'm going to try my very best. If we're not streaming tournament matches, I am going to go back and I'll stream and cover the Cryo versus Goal match. I was trying to get that in today before this happened. However, we kind of ran out of time because since Ink was in the tournament, we didn't really have the ability to... I had to work together with Ink to set up getting him, getting the stream ready. So I wasn't really able to get that covered all in time. There was a lot going on today, is basically what I'm saying. But I will try and get that taken care of tomorrow, where I can cover the Cryo versus Goal match, and maybe a couple of other interesting matches for the few remaining players that are still in the tournament, and see a little bit more of their journey and a little bit more of their playstyle. But as for today's broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We're going to be signing off. Thank you so much for joining us today. I will see you guys very soon. Take care. Have a great night or a great morning, wherever you are.